Okay, I see 세영, Will, and Sally. Morning. 이세리 선생님 오랜만이세요. 네. 얼바인은 어때요? 요즘 날씨가? 어, 뮤트세요.
아, 네, 안녕하세요, 교수님. 네. 아침, 저녁 추워요. 그래서 저 저번 주에 감기 심하게 걸려가지고,
거기도 그렇게 추워요?
낮에는 그냥 더운데, 아침, 저녁은 되게 쌀쌀해가지고, 이렇게 뭐 하나 걸치고 다녀야 돼요, 두껍게.
아, 그렇구나. 몰랐어요. 여기도 쌀쌀하다가 보니까 오늘은 75도까지 올라가더라고요.
아,
하고 있습니다. 어제도 따뜻했어요. 네. 오늘 날씨 좋다. 오늘 중간에 한번 산책 나갔다 와야 되겠습니다. 그리고 겨울에 3주 오실 수 있다고 하셨나요?
네, 그렇게 계획을 잡고 있는데, 지금, 네, 확실히 어떻게 될지 조금만 더 있다가
네,
결정을 할 수 있을 것 같아요. 네.
확정하면 알려주시고요.
네.
그 미셸 리 선생님도 꼭 한번 뵈면 좋겠어요. 미셸 리.
아, 네네, 맞아요. 네, 여기 되게 가까운데.
그러니까요.
네.
제가, 네, 그분 집에 가서 하룻밤도 잔 적이 있어요. 저희 딸이랑 판교,
아,
네.
네.
그, 네, 거기서 어떤 연구하고 계신지 업데이트 알려주세요.
저요? 네. 그냥 계속 똑같은 거 하고 있어요. 세영 선생님이, 이렇게 분배해 줬거든요. 세그멘테이션 스크리닝 하는 거. 그래서 제 파트는 사실 진작에 끝냈고, 어, 닥터 모니카라는 분 뵌 적은 없는데, 그분 파트가 있는데, 그분이 지금 아프신다고 들은 것 같아요. 그래서 그분 파트 반절 정도 더 했고, 네, 이제 그분 파트만 이제 조금 더 남아 있는 상태거든요. 그리고 그 새로운 환자 60개 세그멘테이션 시작하면은 이제
음,
그게 다 끝나면 저는 할모니제이션 하기로 했고,
음,
네, 이제 기다리고 있는 상태입니다.
좋습니다. 세연 선생님, 아, 그, 같이 일하고 계신가요? 그러면 지금? 세연 선생님, 페리 선생님이랑?
제가 지금 마이크가
네, 들려요.
네, 그 닥터 모니카랑 닥터 세일리랑 둘 다 멀리 계셔서 그리고 아프시다고 얘기도 듣고 이게 커뮤니케이션이 조금 쉽지가 않았어가지고 근데 셀리 선생님 처음에 맡아주신 거 다 해주신 거 맞고 그 뒤에 닥터 모니카 부분을 좀 더 해달라고 말씀드렸는데 어 네. 근데 지금 사실 제가 생각한 만큼 진도가 빨리 팀으로 같이 나가고 있지가 않아가지고, 일단은 이번 주 안에 무조건 그 하시고 계신 거 두 분이서 마무리하는 거 하고, 그 뒤에 하모니제이션 그러니까 제가 여기 떠나기 전까지 그 세그멘테이션 끝내는 거에 대해서, 어, 다른 여러 가지 이슈 때문에 조금 계속 원하는 만큼 진도가 못 나가고 있는데, 어제 이거에 대해서 계속 진행할 거라고 말씀드렸고, 같이 타임라인 쉐어했고, 오늘 안에 하모니제이션이나 다른 작업들 어떻게 최대한 스피드업 할 수 있을지 정리해서 공유할 것 같습니다.
네, 좋습니다. 서로 이렇게 계속 타임라인 조정하고 또 뭐 아픈 분도 생길 거고 뭐 집안에 일이 애가 아플 수도 있고요. 뭐 무슨 일이 일어날지 모르기 때문에 서로 도와가면서 해야 됩니다. 뭐 할 수 없습니다. 네, 네, 좋습니다. 또 멀리서라도 이렇게 할 수 있어서 다행이네요, 세리 선생님.
네.
그리고 하면서 이렇게 틈틈이 저희 랩에서 레디오믹스 그 리뷰 논문 쓴 것도 있잖아요. 강시라 선생님하고
네, 네,
공동 저자이신데 그런 것들도 틈틈이 읽으면서
네,
지식을 쌓아가시면 좋을 것 같아요. 네.
네.
태영 선생님도 마찬가지고요. 네. 단순 작업뿐만 아니라 이 분야에 대한 지식을 이걸 통해서
음,
또 레디오믹스는 하지만 또 결과는 우리가 리시스트를 통해 하잖아요. 그럼 또 리시스트에 대해서 또 깊이 또 공부도 좀 해보고 어떻게 온콜로지에서는 투머 리스판스를 정의하는지 그리고 또 레디오믹스에서 우리가 또 여기서 또 할 수 있는 것 중에 하나가 레디오믹스 프로그램을 쓰면은 볼륨메트릭스를 할 수 있어요. 그 얘기는 우리 그냥 투머 이렇게 매저하잖아요. 근데 이제 세그멘테이션을 해놨기 때문에 프로그램 안에서 아 이게 투머구나. 그러면 이제 그 투머의 볼륨을 계산할 수가 있어요. 정확하게. 그러면 이게 단순히 1차원적으로 이게 몇 센치 투머다라고 하는 것보다는 정확하잖아요.
음,
그래서 볼륨이 들어갔을 때는 그 볼륨으로 어떻게 예측이 되는지를 우리가 또 볼 수가 있어요. 그래서 그런 여러 가지 것들을 좀 같이 리딩을 하면서 또 볼륨과 그래서 지금 이걸 해놓으면은 이걸로 그냥 레디오믹스 하나로 끝나는 거 아니라 여러 가지 좋은 질문들을 할 수가 있게 되죠. 네. 네, 그럼 세영 선생님 업데이트 해주세요. 세영 선생님은 계속 열심히 화이팅 해주시고.
저 조금만 정리해서 말씀드려도 될까요? 다른
네,
분들께. 네.
그러면 윌 업데이트 해주세요. 그동안 한 거.
저도 저번 주에 요즘 하고 있는 거 계속 하고 있고, 뭐 EDW 하고 있고, 그 어제 리암 쌤이 잠깐 드림 페이션트 관련해서 도와달라 하셔가지고 그거 도와드렸고, 그 다이콘 파일가 새로운 셋이 하나가 나왔거든요. 약간 좀 이게 200번대 환자들이 새로 나와가지고 그거 지금 원드라이브에 업로드하고 있고, 음, 네, 사실 큰 업데이트는 저번 주에 비교하면 딱히 없는 것 같습니다.
음. 그래서 앞으로의
네.
계획이 뭐예요? 그러니까 어디까지 타임라인을 얘기해 주세요.
일단 EDW 같은 경우는 그 뭐지? 저기 언더그rad끼리 나눠서 지금 이제 하고 있고요.
어,
그러고 네네. 그 다이콘 파일 어, 은 다이콘 파일도 사실 업로드를 지금 최대한
영어로
빨리 할. Okay. So Daikon files, the new ones, they're getting uploaded pretty quickly, not gonna lie. So, I think it will be done like within a week, within this week for sure.
네.
If there are no any like change of plans.
오케이.
Um, yeah, everything looks good on my end. Um,
What about the screening, the neoadjuvant screening thing? Yeah. Are you done with that? Patient screening?
the new adjuvant screening, do you mean by
Patient screening, just the categorization of patients.
uh,
The EDW will.
EDW? Yes, yes, yes. The first 500 that I was working on until last week, it's like done. I just covered Grace's part as well because I think it would be better off for me to just like cover like her part since like she's like coming into the lab like once a week, and then this could only be done with the access of like Epic, which could only be done like when we're in the lab.
Okay.
So I just did her part as well. So yes, the compiled version of Jessica, me, and Grace, though that is like done. And then the leftovers, I think it's like 1,300. I just like started yesterday.
Okay.
So it's ongoing. And then I just like proportioned like the parts that has been divided among undergrads. I just took the majority of it because I'm like here every day, you know. So and I think me having like screening more patients will like boost up the pace faster instead of like dividing it equally like among undergrads. So I'll most likely just like take more than half of the patients and then screen them. And then the other half will be divided into um I guess three or four whoever undergrads are like coming into the lab.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Great. Thanks for your hard work. And it's like laying foundation. Yeah. Um, yeah, appreciate your helping others, and you really just working hard on creating the solid foundation for future research. We need the right group of patients. Yeah. All right. Good. Thank you. All right, Stas. Long time no see.
Hello. I'm finally done with my rotations and kind of into that interview period. Northwestern has us basically take November and December off, so we have time for interviews. And I don't have any this week. They all start next week, so I've got time. The first thing I wanted to talk about were the comments we got from JCOPO about the paper and kind of go through them with you.
Okay.
And come up with a plan to address them and kind of next steps.
Yeah.
So here they are. I've kind of highlighted the biggest issues. So the two real issues that were highlighted by the main editor-in-chief, was the rigor of the statistical analysis and the impact of the biological questions. And kind of the way they understand the impact of the biological questions, really, it just seems like this journal isn't as interested in molecular biomarkers, or at least not something a little bit more experimental. So going into kind of reviewer one, these were the two, again, they matched what the editor-in-chief summarized: a lack of focus on a priori hypothesis, and then potential for multiple testing bias and false positive findings. And so I'll go into those in a second. And so then they talk about the strength. So, built upon genomic information used in clinic. That's all great. And then focusing on the weakness. Again, this is something that we discussed while we were writing it as, a potential biological rationale. It's something we struggled to come up with for why we're seeing this difference in predictive value between histologies. And then the multiple testing bias. Focusing on the multiple testing bias, I did some more reading about what is typically done in these cases, and there's kind of two general approaches. There's this approach called Bonferroni, which is the most conservative one of the bunch, and both of these are p-value adjustments. And so you take a p-value at a specific cutoff that you want to adjust, and you multiply it by the number of cutoffs tested. And so if that number is less than 0.05, then you still have a statistically significant result. If that value is more than 0.05, it's not statistically significant. And that just comes from the idea that the more you test something, the more you evaluate a data set, the more likely you are to find something that is a false positive, based kind of on the value of, or rather on the definition of p-values. The second one is less conservative. It's called the false discovery rate control. And this is the method, Benhamini-Hochberg method. And it's also a p-value adjustment. But instead of so you take the p-value that you want to adjust, and instead of multiplying it just by the number of cutoffs, you multiply it by the ratio of the number of cutoffs to the rank, where the rank is the position of that specific p-value in a list from high to low. So if you had 5 p-values, 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04, 0.05, you would multiply, let's say, just as an example, 0.01 times 5, because you have 5, divided by 0.01 is the first. And so your answer here would be, which would mean it's not significant, or it's barely statistically significant. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that the approach to this is adjusting the p-values, and these are the two that are used. And my plan is to calculate these adjusted p-values. I can use both approaches, make a table, and then present that table to the reader. And then when talking about it, I can say that when we do have p-values in this, they're adjusted p-values. And just doing some kind of quick math for this last night, they're still significant. It's just a matter of presenting these adjusted p-values in a way that a reader who isn't, basically a reader can understand and interpret and trust. So that's the multiple testing bias. And then there was a list of comments that they made that were very specific to certain parts of the paper. For example, here in the abstract, definition of pike loan in the abstract. You can add that in. I can also discuss CD8 enrichment, how it relates to histology. Changing this number. These are all small things. And then this reviewer occasionally will write things that don't, like this one didn't really make sense to me. Because the demographics in table 1 are just demographics. There's no cutoff selection. The only thing that's being selected for is stage. Again, let me know if any of these are just kind of like superficial comments that I shouldn't make changes based on. And then the last one is a detail about the discussion that they didn't like. They said that our driver gene analysis was highly speculative.
Stas. Let me give you comment one by one. I just
Yeah.
So from the first one, you can do both Bonferroni and FDR and kind of see which one gives you a better p-value. It's perfectly fine to use either one.
Okay.
Just applying that would satisfy the reviewer, and then go to number 1. Yeah. So just explain that. So how, when you address it, you just say, yes, we agree. As suggested, we added this in page, and then this page and this line, we added the below sentence, or we modified the abstract so so that the below sentence is added or modified. So you show what's done.
Yeah.
And also say where that has been incorporated into. So that's how you address all the comments. Now, number 2, number 3 is fine, but number 4, it says okay not to run, but I guess it's okay as a weak word. Table 1 due to table 1 is multiple
This
test
is
bias.
what table 1 looks like. Let me just show you. Here we go. It's just the demographics data. So there's no cutoff selection here happening. There's no multiple tests. It's just
It's all separate. Yeah, it's not multiple tests. So
yeah. I'll go back.
so it says so this one is weak. So you can say, because they're all different clinical variables, and it is for I guess the clinical paper to present the population characteristics, we just followed the general practice.
Yeah.
And just say but I guess we understand your input. However, since it's general practice to describe clinical population as presented, we decide to leave table 1 as is. However, we're happy to move it to supplemental if you don't think it's necessary to present it here or something, you know, you just like, you know,
Yeah.
or change the I think that's best we can do. I don't think I want to make any changes because it's so general.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And 5. And so I copied and pasted the section they were referencing down here and kind of highlighted all of the claims we're making about the driver genes in both of these histologies.
Driver gene analysis are highly speculative. I mean, we cited all this. It's
Right.
based on papers. I don't know what they say. They're trying to say by saying speculative. To a few key takeaways.
And I highlighted the takeaways or kind of the key points in each paragraph. There's really only 5. But maybe they wanted us to kind of like summarize them into like a statement like driver genes were responsible for this difference or they weren't. Maybe they wanted us to come to a conclusion like that.
Several well studied. Yeah, I don't know what the reviewer
Yeah.
wants. But the point is, we always answer like we understand your concern that we modify the paragraph so that
Maybe I can add like a summary.
yeah, we added a summary sentence to better convey the message that the driver,
Yeah.
the difference between the two histology can be explained by the different prevalence of the driver gene incidents, or maybe just
Okay. And then so that's it for reviewer 1. And I feel like reviewer 2 was a little bit more favorable.
Sorry, before you move
Go ahead.
on, can you just
Yeah.
show me the last paragraph? I wonder if the reviewer was referring to this last paragraph.
Oh, this one.
Mm-hmm. Because
This one.
yeah, the 2 highlighted sentences in this paragraph
yeah.
may sound a little speculative.
Which sentence?
These
That
2.
one and then this one. I don't know.
Likely explain the shorter disease recurrence time in this group.
So I think the words like significant percentage and likely explain, possibly indicate, might be what they're referring to.
So I should just add numbers here. At least for the significant percentage. But you know, it's good you're mentioning this because there's something that reviewer 2 mentioned that I think would make this less speculative. I just want to get to that and then we can come back to this.
Sure.
I think you make a really good point though, and And I agree, it's very vague. While here, you know, we're using percentages, we're citing places. Here, there's only 1 or 2 citations, so maybe that's, yeah.
Yeah, and then likely, take out the likely or may explain or possibly, or
Yeah.
just tone it down to
Yeah,
other words.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then I want to come back to this after we go through reviewer 2 comments, because there's one thing,
Okay.
one comment they made that I think will add something to this
Okay.
paragraph. So kind of just reading the kind of word choice and the tone, I feel like reviewer 2 is a little bit more favorable.
Mhm.
You know, they write that the manuscript was well written. It talks about, you know, stratifying patients, and then, you know, they say this line, that being said, for the audience not invested in thoracic oncology, I guess this is a typo, maybe they meant may not or something, benefit from the eventual clinical utility of discovering a biomarker for this population. And then they mention the correct survival statistic is disease-free survival. So I can change that. Throughout the entire paper instead of using progression-free survival. Then there's also this comment about just this specific citation I used to discuss the idea of using additional biomarkers alongside TMB. So in this case, it's CD8 T cell infiltration. I reread the paper and I can, you know, I can see what they mean by the paper really focuses on TMB high, doesn't focus on TMB low. And so I can remove this reference and then I can find a more appropriate one. Just kind of browsing yesterday, I found a few papers that did RNA-seq and could actually show which single cell RNA-seq, which could actually show which T cell subtypes were present and not present. So anyway, I think I can address this one fairly quickly. Then they mention this regarding fusion events. And I looked at the molecular data that came from TCGA, and there aren't any fusion events mentioned because it's whole exome sequencing. Typically, people will do a different approach to look for fusions. You could still use whole exome to find fusions. It's just less sensitive. But I can see if there's a tool out there that'll let me, or maybe someone's already done this, and I can just use their data set to say, you know, to discuss present of fusion events.
Yeah, I'm sure people published many papers from this TCGA and did something to find fusions.
Yeah.
There is one, and if there's a technical problem, if there's very low incidence, just cite those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then next they say, this one is a little strange to me. The difference in stages and survival across groups is a big confounding factor, since the sample size is not high enough, especially when the use of adjuvant therapy at the time. So first off, the sample sizes of each group range from 34 to 188. 34, I guess, could be viewed as small, but 188 is not small. Everything else is triple digits except for the 34. So I don't know what they meant.
So how do you address that? Since the sample size is not high enough. Huh. So I guess you just acknowledge that in the limitation, like we agree. I mean, you know, we acknowledge that in the limitation, something like that.
Okay.
But what you wrote here.
And then they also mentioned adjuvant therapy. So I looked back into the data set, and of all the patients, I only found, so they only talk about, in TCGA, they only talk about, I'll keep looking, and maybe there's a place where they talk about this, but they only talk about neoadjuvant. And there were 4 squamous cell patients. 1 was stage 1 and 3 were stage 2, actually, who received neoadjuvant.
Uh-huh.
And then for adeno, there was only one who received neoadjuvant. So I could just remove those patients and see, but I could also mention that, it's such a small percentage of our tested population that that single individual doesn't, it's not going to have an effect.
Yeah, that you don't need to update in the manuscript text. We just say, yeah, when we looked up, there was no well, actually, yeah, look up any paper that talked about adjuvant, neoadjuvant in the TCGA population.
Okay.
Do your best to look for it. But anyway, these are really small numbers, and yeah, don't take it out because you're gonna have to redo all the analysis.
Yeah.
Just say they're only just a very few, so I don't think they will skew the data. Yeah. So just mention it just as a response letter. Yeah, just mention that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but add these like by stage, and these are the low sample size, small sample size is a confounding or the major limitation. Just yeah.
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 All right, next. And this is what I was referring to earlier. So here they talked about kind of, again, the difference between adeno versus squamous, with adeno being driven by EGFR. And then they write, it would be useful to have a non-driver adeno analyzed as a separate group. I can totally do that. And then depending on what conclusions we have, I can add it into this discussion, and that'll make it more specific and less speculative. It'll reduce the sample size, but but it will address their concerns.
Mm, non-driver analyze as a separate group. I mean, it's
So-
feasible, right?
Yeah, I can look to see which patients had EGFR mutations, because they mentioned EGFR, so I'll just do EGFR, and I can remove the ones that have mutations of significance. So like, there's bound to be some EGFR mutations that are of unknown significance, and those I'll keep. The only ones I'll remove are going to be the ones that are known driver mutations, and go from there.
Yeah. Why don't you do that? And if it didn't make any difference, to say we did it, and you can show the graph even.
Yeah,
And then
as a
say,
supplemental.
yeah, supplemental. And if it didn't show any difference, still worth showing as a supplemental, because some readers will be interested. So yeah, why not?
But I think it might, only because the sample size, like, if it's 30, if the sample size is 34 and I remove a third of them because a third of them have EGFR mutations, it might skew it. But yeah,
It's usually 15%-ish.
okay.
So you can say, because there's only a few, it's like still like a randomness may have played a
Agreed.
role, but I'm
Yeah.
just still presenting the data anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last comment here kind of goes back to the adjuvant. This reviewer, again, stratifying patients by treatment given might be beneficial to understand survival. Totally agree. But TCGA patients, as far as I know, or at least in the clinical data I've seen, aren't receiving therapy. At least not at stage 1 and stage 2. But I can look into it and see what's out there.
Okay.
So,
Treatment. I don't think there's. So with the TCGA data, no one received checkpoint.
correct, because it was before that. It was
Yeah.
before, yeah.
So just say we would love to do this analysis, and we are actually, trying to do that with our own Northwestern patient database, but that's
Yeah.
for the next paper. That's what we're doing with Tempest data, right?
Right.
So that's the plan, but unfortunately with TCGA, this is before the immunotherapy era. So, but yeah, kind of it's
But
just
maybe they don't mean just immune checkpoint inhibitors. Maybe they mean adjuvant therapy in general.
But
Um,
we already addressed it. They're just a
Right.
few numbers, and most patients just got surgery. That's it.
Right. I guess
So-
my
Yeah.
concern is that at least in the clinical databases that I found for TCGA patients, I
Mhm.
don't see any mention of adjuvant. It's possible these patients did actually receive adjuvant, but it wasn't reported. But that's a limitation of this data set, not of our work. So I guess I could cite that. I could also look to see if there's something out there that I'm missing. But
Okay.
so that's it for the comments. Now the
So
next
was
one,
it major revision? What was the category?
it was it was a rejection.
That was a rejection. Okay.
You know, where is it?
Help you better prepare. Okay.
Yeah. And then they write, even if these concerns could be addressed, the opinion of the editors is not well suited to our broad clinical oncology readership.
Oh, I missed this. Okay, it's a rejection. So you don't need the response letter.
Right. I
Yeah,
just
that's
do
what
wanna address like the weaknesses they identify just to make it a stronger paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what we discussed, you can you can address it. But yeah, definitely you don't have to explain anything in the
Right.
letter. You just revise. Now that being said, when did we discuss the next paper?
No, that
journal.
journal. No, that was gonna be my next question for you.
So is this the first journal or
Correct.
okay? Okay. What?
I feel like we need something that's more biomarkers oriented and maybe less, yeah, a little bit more like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not like cutting edge, but like a journal that's more interested in things that aren't as clinically validated, that are more speculative or more hypothesis. What's the word you used last time we talked?
Show me the title again of this paper title. Differential impact of ITH on survival outcomes in early stage squamous cell and adenocarcinoma with low tumor mutational burden. Okay, there's molecular cancer therapeutics, MCT. That's another AACR journal, molecular cancer therapeutics.
Okay.
So it's preclinical studies, mechanism of action, drug biomarkers of drug response. It's more drug, I guess therapy.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, very much specific mutations, specific, let's see.
Yeah. It's
Oh, look at that.
there's a translational cancer research. Translational. Liam, did we publish here before translational cancer research? Journal?
I'm not sure. I'll see if we have a.
This one.
This one's, oh, it's 0.9.
There you go. They have intratumor heterogeneity.
Identifying in hepatocellular.
I mean, this one is from 2016. 2016, 2016. These are all pretty old.
Hmm.
Or not recent, I should say. They're not that old, but
Can you,
yeah.
We've submitted to translational lung cancer research before, TLCR.
oh, okay, this is translational cancer research, okay. But it's, yeah, here, look for lung cancer research then. Oh, it's the same group. They have lung
But it's a
cancer,
higher impact factor.
new impact vector. Yeah, this is little similar to what we are
Yeah.
doing here. Yeah, so maybe this would be a nice fit, nice fit. Can
Okay.
you look at the submission fee for this one? So all the it is like open access journals are making you pay a lot.
Right. For authors, submission, online submission. Oh, okay,
No,
great.
just go to guideline.
Instructions.
Mm.
Case report, technique. Manuscript submission requirements. Original article.
Here, number 8. Article processing charges.
Oh. Nothing.
What is that?
You don't want to tell us.
What?
That's funny.
It goes to
The homepage.
read.
Let's see, TLCR.
Oh, 1,000. So it's cheaper than scientific reports. It's like a $3,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this says editorial, commentary, review articles that are commissioned. Oh, that are commissioned. Okay, never mind.
Okay. Yeah, it's expensive, but still, I'm willing to pay.
Thank you. All right, well, I will take a look and see if there's any changes that I have to make to the structure. I'll address the comments from the previous review,
Mhm.
and then make it and start making changes if I need to. So there's no limit. That's great.
Wow, I've never seen no limit. Here, look at
And
that.
no limit on,
Reference table. Wow. That's radical.
okay, great. So I
Okay.
will keep this in mind. All right, now the next thing I wanted to talk about is the Tempest data. First, I just wanted to show it to you. I don't know if Haesung showed it to you or not, or what the discussion was before, but I wanted to go over it. Give me 1 second, let me find it. Okay, here we go. Oops. All right, let me share it. Okay. So we've got 205 patients. Of these about, sorry.
So these are everyone who got Tempest?
This is the radiomics data set that was
Oh,
provided
radiomics.
for me.
Okay,
And
okay.
so, of those, of the 205, oh, whoops, sorry. '62 had Tempest.
Hmm.
Actually, 61, excuse me, this one doesn't count. I mean, some of them had Tempest, but didn't have enough mutations, for example, so it's 61.
Okay.
And then some of those 61 had both DNA and RNA, but I just focused on DNA.
What is XO?
XO is might be one of their older assays, because this is
Okay.
from 2018, this is from 2017. Sorry, 60, not 61. But yeah, this must be one of their older assays. And I reached out to them, and they can't give us access to some of them just because they cite that it's like in an old database and it's gone, but I don't know. Anyway, when Haesung did this analysis, she said that she didn't find any, or I guess I should say in this column right here are the ITH scores. If you see
Okay.
2 scores in a cell,
Uh-huh.
it means that patient had 2 Tempest assays done. This
Oh, okay.
patient, for example, had one in 2018 and one in 2020.
Okay.
And there's actually a surprising number of people who had more than one. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Although it's not big numbers, statistically speaking, it's still, you could do a little case series and say, this is how the ITH changed. The reason there's multiple columns here is because in talking with Haesung, her thought was that because of the variability, we could do just the average of the first 3. ITH is just, this column just has the ITH score from the first run, and this one is average of the first 3. I did 9 total, but anyway, the point is that they're fairly consistent with small variations. And so this is with, and then the next thing I wanted to show, I'm just gonna ignore these 2 for now, and I'll get back to them. I wanted to show something else. Sorry, give me 1 second. So Haesung did an analysis and looked at the relationship between ITH scores and outcomes, and she said she didn't find any statistically significant differences. So it kind of got us thinking, and there's a few things that we can do to, one, make the ITH scores more consistent, and two, start actually exploring this idea of an ITH index that we talked about in the review,
Mhm.
where it was important to define some clones as clonal and some clones as subclonal.
Right.
So the first approach to make the kind of the first addressing the first question, how do you make these scores more consistent? Well, right now what we're doing and what you see here is just 4 examples of patients who all had the same ITH score of 2. And the reason it's 2 is because every cluster is a estimated clone, and the only ones we're counting are the ones that have a size of 2 or greater. And so, for example, this one in the top left corner has 3 clones predicted. One of them has only 1 mutation, so we don't count that one. And so you have 2. Here on the right, we have this guy and this one. Bottom left, we have this one, and then these 2. So one approach to make this data more consistent is to say, you know what? Let's have a higher minimum size. Instead of doing a minimum size of 2, let's do 5 or 8 or 10. We can pick a number, and that may create some more consistency, because you can make the argument that when you have such small numbers, there's enough noise present that, you know, this mutation might cluster with this guy, and then now you'll have a third clone. But is that really a clone? Probably not. So if in this case you were to say minimum size of 10, well, then this would just be a single clone and not 2. So that's one idea that we can explore. The second idea is defining things as clonal versus subclonal. So in this bottom right one, when you look at the ratio of sizes of these clones, 14 to 18, although 14 is a little less than double of 8, they're still similar size, I would say. Because when you look at the one in the top left, it's 37 and 10. And so the question we can ask ourselves is, how do we want to define a clone versus a subclone? Is the largest clone that we find always going to be defined as the clone? And any smaller clone, if it's 10% or less or 20% or less than the big clone, it's subclonal? Or, you know, how do we want to define it? And once we have that, we can say, okay, each of these patients has this many clones and this many subclones. And that might give us some more, something else to work with.
So, I think because we're not the pioneers, I mean, people wrote many articles on ITH before. So, and then we did the review, and there I think we used maybe 10% cutoff.
Yeah.
So whatever was most widely used, use that one. Like, you
Okay.
know, you could, but don't go by the size number. It's the percentage, right? Like anything, I'm just giving you example, like anything greater than 50% of the clones, then call it clonal, and anything, and then
So
I think there's the intermediate ones, but so I don't know what to do with intermediate. See what other papers have done. Subclonal, to me, subclonal is like, you know, 15, 10% or lower.
when you say percent, what do you mean? Do you mean percent of mutations, or or VAF, or
Size.
size? Okay. So for example, here, let's do this one. This one is 14. The largest one is 14. So we're going to call the largest one clonal because it's the largest one. This one is 8, which is more than 50% of the larger one. So this 8 one would also be clonal.
Right. If you dichotomize, I guess all the papers there's no intermediate. Like clonal, you're either clonal or subclonal.
Yeah. And then when you look at this one, 169 is going to be clonal.
Everything else is subclonal. Yeah.
And 9 is so small that it's going to be subclonal.
Yeah.
Now, what about this one where you have 37? That's clonal because it's the biggest one. Is 10 subclonal, or is that also clonal? It's less than 50%. It's more than 15.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, it might actually be Oh, yeah, it's more than 15. I think.
Yeah. So I think it's hard to know because it's all speculation. So I would go by what other papers have used.
Okay, so I'll look
Let's
for
go by
definitions.
one paper, maybe see if there's, definition that has been adopted. So use that. You can run it by me. But two thoughts here. One, the percentage matters, but let's say, the right upper case, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 subclones. So we can,
So we treat these as subclones as well?
uh-huh,
Okay.
because they're still detected, right?
Right, but it could be noise, it could be, if you look at the mean, which is the variant allele frequency,
Uh-huh,
they're like, for example, where was the one that I saw? This one, right? So the variant allele frequency here is 0.077, and everything is clustered around that mean. But
uh-huh,
then you have this one, which is 0.079.
uh-huh.
0.077 and 0.079 it's within the standard deviation. So it decided, that the standard deviation here is a lot more narrow, which is
Mhm.
fine. That's good. But here it's broad. So like if I run this again, these two might cluster, and then you have one less.
Uh-huh.
You see what I'm saying? And then you'll have one less subclone. But do you really, or is it just kind of the random like, noise that is part of this type of analysis?
I see.
Anyway, that just a thought. We could do both and see if it changes anything.
Yeah, yeah. So my point is this, patient case versus, let's say you have a clone size of 169 and size of, let's say, like a size of 15, like just one more clone size of 15,
Yeah.
which is the summation of everything else. It's going to be still like the percentage of the subclone will be same, but in terms of number of subclones, there are two different cases.
Right.
So I feel like the percentage of the subclone is important, but also just the absolute number of subclone may also be important. So why don't you come up with like the index of, the percentage of subclonality by the size,
Okay.
percentage,
So of the mutations, subclones make up this percent.
right? And
Okay.
then, but also go by
The number.
just by number. Out of all the
Okay.
clone numbers, what is the percentage of the subclone number?
Right, because that's interesting, because you can have, let's say you have 5 subclones. I can look for an example like this. So say you have 5 clones. There could be one that has 100 mutations, and then the sum of all the others could also add up to 100. And then
Yeah.
you have a tumor that has this one giant clone and then a bunch of small clones, but they're essentially competing. They essentially have the same resource needs and the same physical size, and so that's interesting. I like that. Okay.
So yeah. Just go by the number, just go by the size. And for the cutoff, you do 50% or 15%, and then or just go by the anything you find in the literature too.
Got it.
Okay, let's do that. But where's the clonality, the ITH score, based on like
On
how did
this?
you on like
So
how did
basically,
you calculate the score?
okay, we'll start with the left one. These all have the same score. So I count the number of clusters or the number of clones that have more than one size, a size of greater than 1. So top
Okay.
left, 37 is one clone, and 10, the size, is one
Uh-huh.
clone. So this will be 2. On the right, this 169, that's a clone, and 9, that's a clone. The rest I don't count, so that's 2. bottom left, 542 and 10, both greater than 1. So that's also 2 clones.
Mm.
And then bottom right, 14 and 8, greater than 1. So 2 clones.
Okay, yeah, I think that's just looking at these cases, that might be oversimplifying.
Right.
Yeah, so that might be the reason why we're not seeing any correlation. Maybe do subclonality index as we discussed by size and by number,
Yeah.
and see what kind of difference does it make, and then do a sensitivity analysis where you regard one as noise and where you don't regard one as noise. Just
Okay. Because the hope is that the noise is the same everywhere.
yeah.
But all of these are run like on different days, by different techs, by, the samples may have been slightly different. So, because the top right one is clearly much noisier
Yeah.
than the other 3, but the number of mutations is actually, the fact that this 542 one, this is impressive. 542 mutations all clustered around this point. That's impressive. That means there's actually, this is a real, anyway.
Wait. 542 is number of mutation?
Correct. The size is the number of mutations that cluster together based on their variant allele frequency. The thought is the same or similar enough variant allele frequency, the mutations are coming from the same clonal population.
So 542 same mutations. Like it doesn't right? Like
So if you add,
cluster of it doesn't mean the number of mutations in one gene is 542.
correct, it's SNPs. So like maybe I can check. There's more than one SNP per gene. That's unlikely unless the genes are huge, which might be the case for some. But the point is that the variants are present at similar frequencies, and if they're present at similar frequencies, they're probably coming from the same cells or the same cell population. That's kind of the logic behind this clustering. And that's why I was mentioning this in the top right one, this size of 9. So that's 9 mutations with an average variant allele frequency of 0.077, and this is the standard variation or deviation. And then there's this guy down here that's just 1 with a mean of, it's 1, so a mean of 1, 0.079. 0.077 and 0.079 to me are very similar, very close, but they don't cluster together. Now, if I was to rerun this, they might, depending on how the clustering algorithm starts off. But that's where the noise comes from. That's why sometimes you'll have 3 predicted or 5 predicted. But if we say that the cutoff for what we consider a true clone, it has to have more than 9 mutations, well, then this doesn't count. But anyway, so.
Yeah, so the same thing. See what other papers
People haven't really done, like most papers that I've read. I haven't done a literature search on this topic in probably 6 or 9 months. So maybe there's some new papers out there, but all of the PyClone papers I've seen will usually say, they'll usually set a minimum of more than 1, and then they'll count them.
Okay.
And that's why I did that initially.
Okay.
And any heterogeneity analysis that I've seen where they have discussed subclones has not been in the context of PyClone.
Okay.
But again, I'll do another lit review and see if anything has come out, if I've missed anything, and yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, to see what you find.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's it.
So yeah, with that, how many patients you said this was? 70?
60.
Okay. Okay, but you have outcome data. So yeah, make that. And then do you have the clinical data as well?
Yeah. All
Okay,
of
so
this, I mean,
you
yeah.
can do Kaplan-Meier. Yeah, Hesong is out this week. So you could yeah, make different ITH scores, subclonality index, and make some Kaplan-Meier curves
Yeah.
on PFSOS and see if it separates anything. And if you find anything interesting, definitely we'll shoot for the AACR next year. And this is the next paper after this yeah, paper you just presented.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean 60 is rather small compared to the
100.
CGA,
Yeah.
but this is best we could get now. But so what, I know this is from the radiomics outcome annotation, but can we get more Tempest? And then we like, how did you get, I guess this was starting with radiomics and see who has Tempest,
Yeah.
but who can you get more Tempest?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's important to have like a thorough clinical screening
Yeah.
done first. And if if there's a list of patients that have been clinically screened and you have the clinical data for them, just give me their MRNs and their birthdays and their names, just because sometimes the MRNs are different in the Tempest database. And I can see what they have and then go from there.
Yeah, that might be easier way. So Liam, the question is, other than the 205 patient that Stats has, is there any other clinical annotated data?
Nothing significant as of now. So the next data set will be the EDW neoadjuvant and adjuvant data set. That's what we're working on now.
What about the LUNIT data?
LUNIT data, we do have the information. Sam or Will, can you remind me? So, but we have overlaps with our radiomics data set, so those have been already incorporated into the radiomics. So the remainder will be, it won't be a big cohort, maybe like 10 or 20.
So the question is LUNIT data in the radiomics data, or is it
For the patients that do overlap, not all of the LUNIT data set is in the radiomics data because we needed like the 3 time points and stuff. But I would say majority of them are.
So maybe start with the LUNIT data that is not included in radiomics. Can you work with Will to screen the LUNIT data that has clinical outcome that is not included radiomics, 205 patients, and then find those patients and send it to stats?
Yeah, we can do that.
Maybe just a few, but still you can add those to your analysis.
Yeah.
Stats.
Yeah, as long as I have their MRNs and their birthdays and their names, I can find them in the Tempest data set.
Okay.
Yeah. And then today we have, I don't know if you'll be present, but I have a meeting with some folks from Tempest about Lens. They wanted to meet and go over just how it works and do like a little demo. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Contact Haesung, see if she could join as well. Okay. No, she's in
I
Chicago.
think she's on, let me see. I think she was on the,
Invite.
yeah. Let me find it. Okay. I'm sorry, hold on, this will take me a moment. Yeah, that song is here. and so are you, and I think that's it. Everyone else is from Tempest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I invited? I can't see it in my.
Yeah, let me
Or do
you
I need to be there? It's more technical, I guess.
yeah, it's more technical. It says optional. It went to your
Yeah.
Gmail.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then yeah. If I don't need to be there, I have other
No.
clinical duties. So
Yeah. It's
yeah. So yeah. Learn to explore because like it's not in the Tempest there's immune cell infiltration, there's HLA. There's so many things you can explore other than ITH. So you can look at ITH and its relations to TMB, PD-L1, everything
I
that's
would
there.
love, like, as
Yeah.
far as just for my own kind of career and my own development of skills, I would love to have some more opportunities to do some more histologic analysis. So like you were saying, the T cell infiltration, and I feel like that's because I'm applying it to pathology, and it would be nice to have some pathology component as well
Yeah.
for my own. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Molecular pathology, and I think you can build your career on ITH, how to
Yeah.
use histology, molecular and histological, like,
Correlates.
show heterogeneity. How do you like use both of them, combine them, and come up with a better index? So you can take it to the
Yeah.
next.
I mean, I've still been, I mentioned this before, but during like a medical informatics elective I did over the summer, I got more comfortable and familiar with image analysis tools, and I've done some of that work. I've yet to kind of formulate a question that I want to test with the tools that I've learned how to use, but that's exactly kind of the avenue I wanted to go down to see, does molecular and molecular heterogeneity and histologic heterogeneity have any correlation? And yeah, I just haven't come up with like a simple question to test yet.
Yeah. I mean, this has been a question since Dr. Know if you remember
Cooper? Oh,
Johan Park was in my lab, and he wrote the first LUNIT paper with me.
oh yeah. And now he works there. Or am I thinking of someone else?
No, that was Hyungyu Park. Hyungyu Cho worked there. But
Got it.
anyway, Johan Park is now working at a pharmaceutical company, Pfizer. He was a internal medicine resident before. But anyway, he worked in Jack's laboratory, working on a ITH, similar question.
Okay.
But like now that you're familiar with software dealing with like H&E slides, the
Yeah.
imaging analysis, using those analysis, I mean, Lunit used TIL,
Right.
but you could look at many different things, tumor, stroma, many different things, and try to come up with like indirect measurement of heterogeneity, and then really just use that and see its correlation with the molecular heterogeneity.
Yeah.
I mean, because you could do that because you wrote the first paper, and then you can just make that correlation in the TCGA H&E slide
Yeah.
analysis, because there's an image for everyone
Right.
you got an ITH score for. So use that, and I mean you can play around it, but any software you could use to analyze H&E, any
Yeah.
index you create, you can correlate that with the molecular ITH we calculated. So that might be the next sort of like the question you should explore.
Because
Uh,
because
yeah.
the kind of as far the kind of where I've gotten now is I've learned how to use a tool that will segment, it'll kind of analyze the H&E slide, and it will segment the slide for nuclei, and it will highlight all the nuclei. And it's this algorithm that has been trained separately on other TCGA data sets, and it can identify nuclei, like if the nuclei is neoplastic, if it's
Yeah.
inflammatory, if it's stroma, if it's something else. And so kind of the thought I was having was figuring out how to quantify the relationship between these different subtypes and
Uh-huh.
summarizing it somehow. I don't know how yet, but I don't know. I that's kind of where I'm stuck, is trying to formulate the right question.
I see.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, but
I'll
yeah,
keep thinking about it, but
keep thinking, keep reading. I'm sure somebody else has a similar question.
yeah.
I hope you match here at Northwestern.
So I can stay and keep doing work.
You
Yeah,
can,
I'd
you
love
can
that.
continue to work together and you can pull some slides. We're having major difficulty working with pathology attendings
Oh
here.
no.
So you could kind of work with us internally.
But even if I don't match here, I hope there's a way for me to keep working with you and working with your lab.
Yeah, of course. Of
I don't
course.
know. I don't think there's any kind of limitations on who I can do research with.
No. Yeah,
So,
okay, very good.
but
So
yeah,
yeah, we got ACR deadline. So let's try to do different cutoff, like do it in, even if I didn't tell you what to do, like just
yeah,
do it in different ways and see what kind of association you find, and let's keep working, and yeah, let's explore and then also keep Hesong involved as well.
yeah, absolutely. What is the deadline for the abstract submission?
Liam,
I can Google it. It's
16th.
fine.
It's November 16th,
November 16th. Okay.
okay,
All right. So
let's month though.
3 weeks away.
I've got basically my first interview is November 1st, and then I
Mm.
have interviews like every other day.
Mm.
But until then, I'll try and get as much work done as I can before
Mm.
November
Mhm.
1st, and then see if we have enough to write an abstract.
Sounds good.
Great.
All
Of
right, thanks, Stas.
course. Thank you.
Okay. Juhi, I know you're in Korea time, so do you have an update for us?
Yeah, I do have a bit of an update. So, well, one sec. Hello. It's been a while. So for cancer screening, it's still under review. It's been under review since October 9, but that's only like 2 weeks, so I think they need more time. So they said it's with the reviewers, but we'll see about that. So I
Mm.
think just wait a little bit for that. For the Bolt paper, Eugene asked me if I could submit a preprint, and I was looking into the preprints. Lancet I cannot submit because Lancet preprint it only works if you're actually submitting to Lancet, and then you have the option of ticking the preprint.
Oh,
I-
okay.
I
Right, so
understand.
it's any Lancet paper, right?
Yeah.
Like what was the paper that you submitted before that made that possible?
Cancer screening we initially submitted to Lancet. So I like ticked the preprint part. But then there's
Oh,
a different preprint database called MedRxiv. I think you know about this, but
right.
so it seems you don't have an account yet, so I was wondering if you could just help create an account so I could just submit it over the week, if that works.
Just use the Che Lab meeting one.
There's one.
There's a Che Lab meeting account, so you can just set up. Yeah, Liam, why don't you just tell Chewy how to make that happen?
So if you look on the ID and password Google Doc, the first page, that first paragraph or two
Yeah.
explains how to create a new account if we don't have one already using the JLab Gmail account.
Oh wait, so that's the password to the Gmail. So I
Yeah.
can actually, oh,
Yeah.
okay, sorry, I didn't understand that. Okay, I could do that then. And for the Bolt, Eugene said that we were gonna contact the editorial office. That we hear back from them? Like how's that gonna go? Are we gonna submit to a different journal? Are we withdrawing or are we staying?
I don't know. I don't know what. I don't have the update from Eugene.
Oh, so I contacted them, but no response.
Did you call?
So they don't have a phone number. So I like live chatted with an agent and they
Uh-huh.
told me to submit an email asking a callback and put my number there, which I did.
Uh-huh.
Still haven't heard back.
Okay.
So that's the mini review. Albert, is that the Albert Curie or what?
Yeah.
So
the
it's
Albert.
really unacceptable that they made us write a mini review and then they're holding up the whole thing.
Yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
really weird because like, you know, there was this long waiting period. So we reached out to one of the editors. I think her name was Rebecca. She was pretty good at responding for a while, and then
Huh?
she's AWOL. We can't get a hold of her even now.
Oh wow. Hmm.
So MedRx fee, let's just still present it.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and then just keep reaching out to him on weekly basis. Like, where is it? We let us know what we need to do, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm still willing to wait a month or two, but
Okay.
yeah, it's just
Could you, Liam, could you CC me on the Rebecca thing? Because I have some more time now that I am down to one job instead of two. So yeah, I have a little more downtime. But yeah, that was my updates. So cancer screening, we're gonna wait. Bolt, I'll submit the preprint on MedRx IV, and I guess we're waiting on the editorial. Well, or I guess we're just waiting for the actual submission. That was it.
yeah. So multi-cancer. That's preprint Lancet, and it's right now with which journal you said?
It's with scientific reports, but they only started the reviewing process, the actual peer review process in October 9th. So I'm guessing they're like still contacting the reviewers and getting the manuscript out to them. So I think we should just give them a little more time.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with the other project that ESOL is in charge of.
What is
I-
that project?
Remember we were talking to the physicians. Which country was it again? Liam CC'd me in the email. I am blanking out.
Oh, you mean Brazil?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening there. So I was wondering if I come in today, I'll get a little bit of an update of where things are. But yeah.
So Liam, was there any update?
From Brazil?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay. Then I guess I can just do the preprint thing then.
So maybe just reach out to Marcelo, Brazil again, Liam, and kind of, is there any update? You know, we wanna be able to, you know, do the project with you if you can, just CC me. So follow up Liam, CC Juhi as well. So Juhi, what's your plan? Are you done with exams or are you?
Yes, I'm done with all exams. I have finished the application. I've gotten some interviews. I scheduled them I like evenly spaced them out. November and December. I'm trying not to seep into January, but we'll see what happens. But it's not too bad because I spaced them out pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you planning to do, I know you want to finish this, but it's at this time, it's like, unless we get any comment. We don't have anything to work on, but rather just following up on where things are.
Mhm.
But are you willing to do some more research or reading, or what is your plan?
I guess I'm a little open for now because I do have some downtime. Which is why I wanted to get more involved in the project with Marcelo, but I
Yeah.
guess it's not really moving forth at the moment.
Right,
Cancer screening is in a stall too because we need to wait for the reviewers to get back to us.
right.
Alt is in a stall too, so I don't know. Just I guess I wanted to be involved in a project, but like
Yeah.
maybe not
So I think
with other
I
people.
think yeah, the Marcelo project is kind of depend on how he's gonna move forward. So
Mhm.
there are many projects that has
Yeah, I
um
think you mentioned the review paper with ISO, but I
yeah.
haven't heard back, so I'm not sure. Um, yeah.
So did I mention what review paper that was?
I think you did, and I think I forgot.
Was it the AI pathomics?
I think that is correct because you said the review paper was mostly done, but it just needed some tinkling here and there, and then submission.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a AI pathomics paper review. Yes. So you can meet with Ise. She's gonna be in Korea for next 2 weeks.
What?
Yeah. So you could but yeah, while you have time, get the file and
Okay.
start reading and learning the field. And then update, because since we started writing it, it's been more than 6 months. So the
Okay.
new papers might have come out. So the
Okay.
whole question is AI pathomics, like the Lunit TIL score. I mean, you're familiar with everything we've done here in our lab.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many other companies who are doing similar things. How do you assess TIL? And Stas, it's relevant for you too. Like, what's the best use of AI to better assess? It's not just TILs, it might be just whole immune cells or the tertiary lymphoid structure. How do you best assess that? And I don't believe Lunit's technology is the only and the best one. There might be a better one, and we don't know. There are so many different companies. It's almost like MCED field where there's so many new startup companies coming up with different technology. So it's going to be screening for a company's homepage, their recent abstract, poster, oral presentation, and kind of updating the whole field. So it's familiar. It's similar to what you've done, Chuy, and it's gonna be a great paper because I don't see anything similar in the field. But it's other than it's less controversial than MCED or double lung transplant.
Yes, please.
It's like people understand AI is needed and all that. So, yeah, and then I think Issa's busy, so if you help her, I think you can get the paper out pretty quick.
Okay.
So yeah, let's have you work on it full force.
Okay.
Reach
I
out
just
to her, get the paper, just say we discussed and yeah, she'll be more than happy to work with you.
okay. I just sent her a message real quick, so once I get back from her, then I'll just start off with that and wait
Yeah.
on the others. Okay, sounds good. I'll do the preprint thing this week.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Okay, very good. All right, very good. We're gonna take a 10-minute break and come back, but I'll see you guys. Okay, I am back. Okay, is Eileen here?
Hi, I'm here. Sorry. Yes, I'm here.
Are you okay?
I have some updates for the uh
Are
yeah.
you okay?
Yeah, I wasn't feeling too well. I texted Dr. Liu. I don't know if he was able to see it, but I don't think I can come into lab today. Or I should
You
just
feeling sick? Hope you get well
oh
soon.
thank you. But yeah, I'm okay, thank you. Um Regarding the variant classification project, Emma
Mhm.
couldn't join today, but we wanted to update you that we're just in the process of replacing the values from our last draft with the
Mm.
new values that we did after the recent an analysis.
Mm.
And I know that you mentioned that we should redo a new literature search just to see if there are any new updates regarding
Yeah.
verification. So that's also in the process. And we met with Amy on Friday actually,
Uh-huh.
to get her plugged in and have her help us write.
Uh-huh.
And then another thing was we're regarding Condell, like we were trying to see if we can replace that. And I did do a little bit of research on potential ones that we can replace it with, but I need to talk with Emma first to see if this is like an option,
Mhm.
just to make sure with her first. And then as for like other updates, I guess I was helping Dr. Hayam the past couple weeks with organizing like CT scans for her project and stuff. And then last week I was helping Dr. Leah with the IRB thing for something, but I will follow up with him on that as well. But yeah, that's all my updates for now.
So what's the timeline for the publication?
Right, so we were supposed to have the draft today to show you, but something came up, so that couldn't get done. But it will be done this week, and then next week we will definitely come in and show you.
Okay.
Yes.
And the rule of thumb is that we would do one interview per month for pacemakers. So
Yes.
update on the pacemakers.
I don't have any updates on pacemakers yet, but I don't know if there's like a list of potential interviews I can get, and I can contact them today.
Okay. So yeah, Liam, any update on that?
Not at the moment. The next people we'll reach out to will be Dr. Pedro, Dr. Sarah Fenton, and then William Bay.
Who was the second one they said? Dr.
Sarah Fenton.
Sarah Fenton?
Did she say okay?
I haven't had the chance to like talk with her because she hasn't been in the office recently. So I think we'll just have to email her.
Okay.
And Dr. William Bay.
Mhm.
Should I take one of them and also let Amy and Irene know?
Yeah, that'll be great.
Or Grace.
Mm. Yeah, let Irene, Eileen, and Amy.
Okay.
And did we decide to do Dr. Iser Kim one again?
Oh yes, we have to do that one again. So I'll have Grace do that one.
Okay. Yeah, so just follow up on those.
Mhm.
And Liam, what happened to the faith one? I know they did record my interview as well as some others.
Yours?
Yeah, Jessica and Peter interviewed me for the the faith one?
So that one they needed to do a redo, because it wasn't long enough. So what we decided to do there was to make them into shorts. Jessica is working on those. I'll follow up with her.
Okay. And who else did the faith-based interview?
I'm actually not sure who you're referring to.
Because remember we made it so that we would separate out the faith-based interviews, and then make it into different YouTube clips.
Oh, so the recent ones we've been doing, they did not have separate faith-based. They declined to do the faith-based ones. It's like Dr. Kwanyera declined to do a faith-based one, and then Keith Zafran also declined.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we don't have those for recent interviews.
Okay. Do you have, wasn't there, let me see. Yeah, I guess, what about Dr. Matthew Lee?
That one is up. I feel like he only did one because he did the recording himself and sent it to us.
I see.
Mhm.
So I think these recording by doing it, just by him, yeah, I think this might work really well for people who are not here physically.
Mhm.
So Dr. Kwanyera did the interview, right? So we're making the interview.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I think we can do what we did with Dr. Matthew Lee. So let's do one with Dr. Taekwon Kim. If he's visiting Chicago soon, then we can film it when he's here, but I don't think he is, but we can ask. So the next in line should be Dr. Taekwon Kim and Dr. Eunkyung, Park Eunkyung, the nuclear medicine attending at University of Utah. I think she can do the remote one, unless she's visiting Chicago soon. I think they're open to it. Kim Taekwon and Park Eunkyung. We can do it through Zoom. We can offer like a Zoom type of interview recording. Yeah, let's do some like remote ones too. And they ask them like a separate interview for faith-based questions too.
Mhm.
Sure, they'll be open to it. So it doesn't matter whether they do it for credit or not. Anyone who's coming to our lab, and that includes all the students, including Jenny, Irene Son, and everyone. Like even if it's like one-time thing, I just want all of our students to be involved. And if they're busy coming here, they can do it remotely, through Zoom and all, yeah, Taekwon and Park Eunkyung. Trying to think. Oh, you know what? What's his name? Your friend, and Donguk's friend,
William.
neurosurgery resident,
Yeah, William.
William. He would be a great candidate for doing both interviews.
Mhm.
And he doesn't have to come all the way down here to Chicago. He could do it through Zoom or recording.
Mhm.
So William would be a good candidate. Any other suggestions?
If we're doing virtual, we can do like Professor Dr. Park Hoongi from New York, Daniel Shin from LA. Actually, do you know? I think you said Dr. Park is coming to SITSI, right?
Yes, Dr. Park is. Yeah. So how about have Peter
Mhm.
film Dr. Park?
Yeah, I
Peter's
think.
so involved. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's do Peter. Yeah. At the maybe we could do it at the outdoor in San Diego or something. Yeah. So mention it to Peter. Yeah. So Woongi Park would be good for SITSI. Try to think who else. When Dr. No. Igube comes, he will be a good candidate. But you know, he's gonna come here anyway, so let's wait until he comes.
Mhm.
Um I'm trying to think more outside Korean community. Because they're all Koreans. Dr. William is there.
We can have our students reach out to just Northwestern faculty. And
Yeah. It doesn't have to be someone who I know, right? It did any recommendation from them they think would be a great role model would
Mm.
be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Um kind of think. Did we do Lauren? Lauren Beer? We haven't done
We
it.
did. No, we did Lauren Beer.
Oh, we did Lauren Beer. Oh yeah, we did. She's great. Let's see. And I think Will's going to do Marissa's family member, right? You're waiting to meet them. Marissa Wilderness's family member. Oh yeah, so Marissa is the one who also volunteered to do faith-based questions. So reach out to her, Will. Just do like a more like a faith-based questions. So this would not go under pacemakers. This will be going under Faith in Action, where some will make a different YouTube channel for that.
I think Miss Wilderness is, I think she wants to like have an interview with like her sister-in-law,
Okay. Together.
like together.
Okay.
But I think her sister-in-law is like still kind of like, you know, kind of she's like not in ease like of like going like in front of the camera and like doing interview yet.
I
She,
see. Okay.
but
Then-
she like when we had clinic last week, she told me that she will be reaching out to me soon, so I'm expecting to get a response from her back from her, I guess like pretty soon. But yeah, I'll keep you updated with this.
Okay. Oh yeah, and then for faith-based interview, we could do Liam. Maybe Liam.
Yeah,
Will you
I'm
be
always
available?
available.
Yeah, you can make that yourself available for students to interview you. But as far as other attendings go, or nurses, like a good example. Yeah, we'll keep thinking about those. But yeah, let's make the separate YouTube channel, but it could be under Pacemaker's account or something like, I don't know. Think about ways to create it, a faith in action. It could be under GBM. Like, yeah, let's put it under GBM category, faith in action videos, GBM account, and we'll do a separate interview channel for that. Yeah, and assign patients to all the students for this semester.
Mhm.
And just follow up so that, you know, I don't want them to be dragging, I want them to interview, also take pictures so that, a few lines and Instagram would be updated. Yeah, so let's do that. And give me update on where things are, who's taking who on weekly basis in that meeting. So we follow up on that too, Liam.
Sure.
So who are you gonna do interview, Eileen?
I can reach out to Dr. Pedro for now, or did you want to do Dr. Taewon, Dr. Pagan Young, Dr. William,
Yeah.
Dr. Guzman first, and then go on to Dr. Pedro, Sarah, and Dr. William
No,
Bay?
Pedro is here. I think Pedro and Sarah
Mm-hmm.
are priority because we've been
Okay,
trying to get them done,
got
sooner.
it. I'll reach out. I can reach out to both of them or I can have Amy and Irene reach out to Dr. Sarah, Dr. William Bay then.
Yeah.
Okay. If you
William
prefer
Bay
to do
also.
that.
So what I don't want is, oh, they
Mhm.
didn't get back to me, and you're like, well, I'm off the hook. You know what I mean? Like,
I
if they
see.
don't get back to you, you be persistent. Send them email, bug
Okay.
them, CC me. Dr. Che, really wanted me to
Yeah.
ask you. And if you don't hear back in next 1 week, they don't
Mhm.
reply cold. They're not
Okay.
interested,
For
right?
sure.
So you
Yep.
move on to the next candidate and just persistent in reaching out. Like, let me know if you're open and let me know when your availability is. I'll accommodate.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't respond in 1 week time period, that means they're so busy, and just maybe
Mhm.
reach out to them a month later when they're less
Mhm.
busy. But what I don't want is you're assigned and they don't get back and like you don't do anything. There's plenty of other people who you can still interview. So
Right.
work with Liam to make sure you guys are working on someone or helping. Yeah, this is all about follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Also, yeah, Eileen, let's get it published very soon. I know, it's taking a lot of time, right? But
Yeah.
you know how difficult it is even after submitting, right? Like
It's a lot.
reviews,
Right.
so many back and forth. But I really want you to have like a published article, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We'll come back with it next week.
okay, very good. So, yeah, thanks, Eileen. We'll do Sejong, but I have to answer these pages. And yeah, it will be just couple minutes. Okay, I am back. Few things to take care of. Okay, Seo.
Yes. So first of all, the yeah. This is the DICOM file 127 screening process that we've been going through. From the 127 patients we've done until 100, and Dr. Saley helped with 65. Dr. Monica said she could hop onto whatever the radio mix is going on, but for now she wasn't able to contribute her parts. But I am reaching out to her to see if we could get her on board to do these screenings and finish the segmentations for the new 63 patients. And the new 60 patients, I've been going back and forth with Dr. Chion, Dr. Yuri, and Dr. Che to make sure the new 63 files are in concordance with the 127. And so these were kind of the things that I've been going through. When we come with one person, we have to first check before pre-segmentation what lesion should be segmented. And from the patient DICOM files, we have to pick one manually, which Amy and Eileen has been helping a lot. And while I was communicating with the picking one DICOM series, I was getting information from Dr. Yuri that I wasn't shared with Dr. Chion. So I've been going back and forth just to make sure that the things that we've already done, whether it should be double checked or they should be changed or they should be kept. So a lot of things have been just going back and forth trying to get a good standard of what we should go on with. And yeah, for right now, I believe we have around 63 patients, and Eileen has helped me or helped this team to check the DICOM series until patient 37. I've reached out to Amy and maybe possibly Will to finish setting the DICOM series for these patients so that the segmentations could be going on. And for the lesions, I'm thinking of doing like distributed work because I have access to Epic more easily and I have Dr. Liam or Dr. Che to check on the tumor lesions. I'm trying to primarily check or do the lesions, the tumor lesions, the primary, and then have it double checked if needed by Dr. Yuri or Dr. Liam or Dr. Che. And then once these are done, I can send these over to Dr. Monica, which I'm planning to have her on board to do the peritumoral space. And then Dr. Selly could work on the harmonization. And whomever does the segmentations at last could feature extract and double check the feature extraction parameters are well. So this is something that I've been trying to build up and share an SOP by today or by tomorrow so that we could just start this and hopefully finish segmenting at least all the tumor lesions by next week before I leave. So regarding the tumor lesions also, I've been trying to use Picture Health's auto segmentations if possible so that we could speed things up. I've sent them the files last week and I haven't received the results yet, and they told me that they would return it by this week. So we'll see how fast that would be happening. And for the tumor lesions among the 63, I've started 35 and completed about 5 for the patients. So yeah, that's been going on.
Okay.
And
So did you talk to Dr. Yuri about the lymph node?
yeah, the stance of Dr. Yuri was that we can't compare lymph node together with tumor. He uses the analogy of tumor as an apple and lymph node as in like watermelon. So they have totally two different features and we can't mix them together. And if we were to do lymph nodes, he needs way more data to conduct analysis on that. And I think that's the same stance with Picture Health. And I asked them and they said they did not use lymph nodes either. So they only used tumor. So for now, we can keep segmenting lymph nodes if we want to do it for the future to have more data available for analysis. Before the deadline for AACR or other abstracts that were to come, I believe it would be best if we have more priority on doing the tumor lesions first and then go back to lymph nodes.
Okay, I didn't know that was the Picture Health stance. So I think for RECIST purpose, we measured all the lymph node, but for segmentation purpose, we can skip it for now and just say we skipped it. So for the future purpose, so we know which one we did lymph node, which one we didn't do lymph node, make sure we annotate that well. But for the time being, we're not
Yeah.
segmenting lymph node.
Okay. Great. And
So maybe Seong
yeah.
through Liam, send out email to Lunit, okay? And who's doing Lunit project? Like and maybe CC Jion as well. Ask the same question. Do you need a segmentation of lymph node as well as the lung lesions? What is your algorithm? Like we are doing it, but we are going to send them radiomics file to them as well.
Okay.
So what is their stance? And Liam, is there a separate call with Lunit? Because we want them to support our lab people. So we kind of suggested that meeting with just to talk about the grant support. So we're going to talk about the radiomics and pathomics, the grant support. So let's make that happen. Just follow up on those emails. Maybe it's lost somewhere.
Sure.
Okay. So that we know, like, is Lunit interested in or no? Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. And I think that's it for radiomics. I'm just recognizing that the criterion information to do these works are really scattered around. So one of my goal is to have this as on SOP or like a complete file so that whomever comes next would be able to start with all the understandings that I have.
I love it.
And
Yeah. Make an SOP, make sure it's shared among all of us who does radiomics involved, even remotely. That will be a major contribution. Setting up SOP. And then also run it by Jian and Peter if they have anything to add, things like that. So definitely appreciate all your efforts. Now, one more, and this one, because Seyoung, you're involved in radiomics. So Liam, if you remember, we communicated with Dr. What's it at Jackson Laboratory, and he has a grad student, right?
Yes.
And I feel like we kind of lost touch. And I think we were planning on doing like a Zoom meeting so we can learn from the grad student, because there's like a shareware where we could run all these but was that more pathomics? I'm just figuring out, did they have any radiomics? No, I think that was all pathomics, right?
Yeah, it was definitely more pathomics. I don't recall if they did radiomics at all.
I see, I see. Okay. Okay. So pathomics wise, is it just more you and Iser, Dr. Iser?
Um,
Or
yes,
has
and it's kind of related to the radiomics project because Picture Health is looking into it, and also Lunit does them.
right, it's kind of related. So
Yeah.
okay. For the time being, maybe Seong can learn from this too. So maybe CC Seong, Haesong, Iser, you, and Dr. Jiyeon as well, because I'm sure she wants to learn. And maybe really plan on having that session with the grad student, follow up on that email. Can we have that session where we learn that AI imaging analysis? Yeah, let's follow up, and then we can ask the question, can we use the same program to analyze radiomics and things like that? So yeah, let's, because I think whatever we send to Lunit, did we send to Jax yet, or are we still doing the MTA or
Yeah,
something?
still MTA.
So let's follow up on that too. In the meantime, we can do the Zoom meeting to learn, but why is that taking so long, I think it's been like 3 months already, something like that. Or someone dropped the ball there.
Yeah, I'll follow up on those.
Yeah, so Jack's so there are major academic collaborators. So Seong, you could learn from them as well. But anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, sounds great. And then I'm keep working on with wherever Dr. Tegyu has left on with the RESIST and iRESIST data. And I did fix all the data regarding the mixed response feedback that you gave last time, that you only look at the first response, whether it's mixed. And
Oh,
I
hold on,
checked with
I'm getting a call.
yeah.
Hold on, I'm getting a call. Let me answer this
Okay.
first.
Young, you're still sharing your screen.
Thank you for letting me know.
Okay, I had to take care of clinical trial matters. Takes time. All right, I am back. Seong, let's proceed. Yeah.
Yes. So, I was going to talk about the RECIST and iRECIST data. So I did regarding the last feedback from the mixed response should be based upon only the first response the patient is going through. I fixed that, and then I was talking with Dr. Yuri about the best overall response regarding RECIST, and what you told me, Dr. Che, that if a person has a PD, the best overall response would be considered only from before PD. So I reassigned that again. And regarding
Oh, you-
iRECIST,
So he agrees, right? If the
yeah,
first
he agrees.
yeah.
So he also was saying that whenever the person progresses, then the regimen or the treatment should have changed. So it doesn't make sense to have like PDSD or something else if it's just RECIST. So he agreed on that. So I fixed my data regarding that. But on under trying to understand iRECIST, I visited Dr. Yuri yesterday, and we talked about the radiomics and RECIST for more than 2 hours, but we couldn't come up with all the conclusions. So I'm visiting him today again. And
Why? Why no conclusion after 2 hours?
because he also gave me, because I had two big topics. First was radiomics, and then the second was the RECIST thing.
yeah.
And then we spent more than an hour regarding the radiomics because he wanted to make sure the tumor that I was segmenting, like he was reviewing it, and then he was kind of he just wanted to make the tumor borders correct. So he called over Nicola, and we were like having conversations about until where the tumor lesion is. So that took a long time. And then I did bring my Excel file to go over each patient about the RECIST criteria that I was confused of. And while doing that, I was able to be shared of this amazing file. So I think whomever is doing iRECIST and RECIST I would highly recommend to use this. So I don't know where the paper is coming from, but it helps you guide through to understand iRECIST way better than the just the literature itself. So here it says, it shows you like a good examples or algorithms to first have IUPD, whether it was a PD and target lesion or PD and non-target lesion or any new lesion, then
Right.
what you should consider to confirm ICPD is all listed here. So you can follow this.
So teach us here.
Oh, so at first I thought whenever a person gets any new lesion, then that person would be iRECIST PD, but on unRECIST PD, but on iRECIST IUPD. And I thought that was the only occasion that IUPD was assigned, but rather in iRECIST, even if the target lesion increases in 20% from nadir, it is considered IUPD. Or PD in non-target lesion is also called IUPD. So basically, whenever the first PD is made by RECIST, iRECIST considers that as IUPD. And then after that, another progression has to be made to be confirmed ICPD. And for that to happen, target lesion has to increase at least 5 millimeters, no matter how big the previous lesion is, even if the target sum increased by 30%, and then the follow-up CT still showed 30% increased. If it did not increase by 5 millimeters, it's still IUPD.
Mm-hmm.
So those were something that I was able to learn. And it also comes with very good examples to understand these. So Dr. Yuri and I was also going through these tables, going up and down to see what category we are into. So for instance, one thing I was very confused was that this person had a 30% increase from nadir, which is RECIST PD, but then iRECIST, because it's his first time or the patient's first time having a PD, it would be IUPD. But on the second follow-up, even though the patient still would have more than 30% increase from the very first reference, because the patient didn't increase by 5 millimeters, it's still IUPD. So I'm taking this paper as a reference to go through the data and assign the iRECIST. And using this, I also asked Dr. Yuri, what happens if the patient only has IUPD and it's never confirmed as ICPD or other response? And Dr. Yuri said, we have to come up with a criteria ourselves to consider that whether it's SD or PD or whether it can't be analyzed. So I would like to receive guidance on that, Dr. Che.
Yeah. So can you go back up to
Yep.
the table? Yeah. So so confirmed PD
Mhm.
is increase 5 millimeter or greater.
Mhm.
And or, so it could be still or
Mhm.
non-target lesion increase. So that it doesn't have to be target lesions, but I guess it's just the non-target lesions
Yes, yes.
summation.
Yeah.
But what it says non-target lesions, but it's like 20% of target sum. What does that mean? Target sum.
I think that's the sum of diameters.
No, I'm saying it says target and the other one says non-target.
So sum of diameters of target lesions, isn't that what it's talking about?
But why is the title non-target lesions?
That is confusing. Mm,
Is that non-target sum? Is that a typo?
I would have to ask Dr. Yuri on that to just make sure. But from what I read from iRECIST, they never add the diameters of the new lesions into the sum of diameters, so I am also confused.
Okay, so I guess confirm PD happens. If another new lesion happens, then they just call it is confirmed. If it's the target lesion in the summation increased by just the 5 millimeters, that's enough. But in non-target, in my mind, in non-target, there's summation of non-target increases by 20%. It's confirmed.
Right.
So that's my understanding, but you can look at the literature, run it by Yuri, make sure that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
And then the next box is PD in non-target lesions. Is confirmed by if there's a PD only in unequivocal progression is there. So this could be malignant pleural effusion. Okay, cytology proven. Now then the non-target is any impression of further increase in size. So the effusion gets larger, then that's it. Target lesions, if the target lesion continues is growing even at that time point, it's confirmed. Any new lesion pops up, it's confirmed. Now, if the PD on IUPD happened just because of one new lesion, then if the target lesion grows by 20, non-target shows unequivocal, and then new lesion, any increase in size of new non-target lesion. Interesting. It has to be new non-target lesion, but if it's target lesion, there has to be 5 millimeters increase by the sum of the new target lesions. Okay, Wow, very specific. Very,
I know it's so complicated and
very
it's really,
complicated.
yeah.
But I think it sort of defies any ambiguity here because you
Yeah.
just follow the rule and you have answer. So
Yeah, right.
so I resist if so it's unconfirmed PD by I resist with is like is I mean the chance of that becoming confirmed PD is higher than this converting back to SD or PD, okay?
Right.
So therefore, therefore, for the sake of our own analysis, you can assign IUPD as PD, overall PD, like PD category. We do the overall analysis.
But one question is that you know how when we talk about durable response or like we would sometimes have like 24 weeks of response duration to be confirmed. Would you not consider that or
So when when you are counting that 24-week time period,
yeah.
that time period would end with IUPD. It just in case we don't have a confirmation scan.
Okay.
You get it?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again? I don't think I'm following.
So in case where we don't have confirmation scan,
Mm-hmm.
which allows us to have ICPD,
Mm-hmm.
that case IUPD will be considered PD. So that will be your endpoint of that 24-week mark.
Got it. So basically, no matter if the patient only has IUPD or only has IUPD, the patient would be considered PD in our case, right?
Right.
Okay. Got it.
Now, if patient has ICPD,
Mm-hmm.
then IUPD becomes PD point
Got it.
because it's just the slope happened at
Yeah,
that point,
already.
not but unconfirmation.
Mm-hmm.
So time to progression or stable disease time period, all that, you're still gonna use the first IUPD point when it's confirmed. When it's not confirmed, so still use that as PD because of the probability.
Oh, so though even if the patient only had IUPD, we would consider the very first IUPD response as the time of progression.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe put that all in our SOP so that next time someone has a similar question, it's all there.
Yeah. Got it. So yeah, I think that's the main thing for now. I am meeting Dr. Yuri today, so I'm trying to run the data again by at least this week again to see what results are there. And besides that, Dr. Jian has reached out to ask for help uploading the CC poster and finalizing it. So I've been getting feedback from you and then sending it to her. And I am waiting to receive further analysis from Dr. Jian to update it and make minor modifications to meet the deadline on 27th.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be it.
Okay, very good. So Liam, can you give any updates?
Yes. So I worked with Dr. Eugen last week to submit the transfusion paper.
Okay.
And I've also reached out to the oncologist for the Boltz paper. I sent another email. So hopefully we'll hear back from them. So I did get an email from them this morning. Just an email saying, tell us which journal you submitted to, because like this editorial manager oversees multiple journals. So I just responded to that email. I CC'd you on it, so hopefully we'll get a response within this week, and we'll see where things go from there.
So again, this is what project?
This is the Bolt Albert Curie, the oncologist, the
Okay.
journal that has not
Yeah.
been responding to us for like 6 months.
Right.
And then the
Okay.
transfusion paper was submitted last week with Dr. Eugene.
Do you know what journal?
Yes. It was Journal of Internal Medicine.
Okay.
And then I have the preliminary DREAM data set I can show you.
Yeah, show me.
Very rough. So I'm actually working with Brooke and another another PA from Dr. Barat's lab on actually building like a full database, like an official one on REDCap.
Uh-huh.
I need to get approval and access to the system, and then we'll have to like start a new project and things like that. But I think right now would be a good time to like initiate that process, since we have a handful of patients. So we'll get working on that, and then we'll keep you posted.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just gonna share my screen here real quick. So I'm just using the same template from our radiomics data set, because I assume we would want to collect most of the same variables. But for now, we just included the patients that are enrolled in the DREAM study,
Yeah.
their histology, their surgery
Nine
data.
patients.
Yes, there's 9 patients that are currently enrolled in DREAM, and there's several more that are coming through the pipeline. So I'll stay in touch with Brooke and enroll those patients as they move along the screening process. And then yeah, so here we have these patients. These 2 up here are just examples, so you can ignore those. That's just there for reference. This is the histology. We've indicated if they have a chronic condition like COPD or ILD in parentheses up front, so that can give us an indication as to which cohort they would belong to. This is the double lung transplant date, and this is if death has occurred. So only 1 patient has passed away so far. This is their date of birth. This is their current age, and this is the age at surgery. And this is months since surgery.
Okay, so Curie is 25 month. Tanaz is 15 month.
Mhm. And then the other two are very recent.
Alvarez is she's only 5 months?
Yeah, because her surgery was in May.
Wow. That's when yeah, okay. And Steve Cannon is 4 months.
Yeah.
Where is he? I don't think did I see him after surgery?
It's a good question. I'm not sure. I'll have to check.
Yeah, because I can't remember.
Mhm.
Because usually we have follow-up at 1 month, and then we do every 3 months. And he should be in Chicago for the first 1 year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They all have.
Okay. And where are all the others? What happened to Cynthia?
Cynthia, she's still waiting for her surgery. So the TBD means they haven't had their surgery yet.
Okay. And Michael Anderson.
Yeah, he's the one that unfortunately passed away.
What was the cause?
I'll have to double check on like his death note. but it was shortly after. It was like exactly a month since his surgery. So I was assuming it was more of a complication related to the surgery, but I'll have to look at his death note.
Okay, so he'll go to cohort C, right?
Yes, as of right now, he'll go to cohort C. But he was enrolled before cohort C was opened.
Yeah, but that's
Not that
okay.
it matters. Yeah,
It
not that it
doesn't matter.
matters. Mhm.
It doesn't matter. So, and then cohort B, we don't have anyone yet, right?
Yes.
So yeah. So make the list by the cohort so that he's out of the cohort A. And show me the stage because I can't see. Okay, maybe more. Okay. So Tanaz is mucinous, Curie is mucinous, Alvarez is not mucinous, right? Just
No, but she has lipidic.
right. So maybe I don't know if they put what's dominant or it was just all like a mixed, truly mixed. If they have like predominantly lipidic, then maybe have a category like histology and mucinous, non-mucinous. Maybe have a category mucinous, non-mucinous, and then have a category lipidic only or lipidic predominant or lipidic acinar papillary, like all of that, like more like a dissect. What's predominant? What is, or is it just all mixed? So same thing with Steve Cannon. I guess he stage 1 or I don't know what his stage. So find out his stage. Or is it stage 4? Because well, I guess it's stage 4. Everybody's stage 4, but is it stage like yeah. Do the TNM staging as well. Like a T3, T4, N0, M1. Everyone is probably N0 and M1A by the eligibility criteria, but maybe just T-score, if it's bilateral, he should be T4, everybody, if it's bilateral. I don't know. Let's look at
Yeah, so but for cohort C, they may be for the cancer, they may be earlier stage.
yes, but he's cohort C. So he might be, is he still, Steve Cannon is stage C, right? Category C, right?
Yeah, it's cohort C.
But then he's not stage 4.
I'll have to double check the path report, but I'll double check. It was stage 4, maybe it was bilateral lung.
Yeah. So so the stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and then TNM staging. And okay, and Cynthia, is this cohort A or C?
Cynthia will be cohort C. So any patient with, well, I guess Steve might be a little bit of a, he can go either way. But Cynthia is cohort C. Steve did come to us because so he came to us more like a cohort C type of story.
But did he get treated, let's say it was stage 1, did he get treated SBRT or did he get chemo? Did he, or was it?
I'll have to double check. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah. So Will said it's AH what? AHRF? Acute heart and is it what? Renal failure? Or is that cardiogenic shock? Is that what's written in the note? Okay.
It says acute hypoxemic respiratory failure.
So I'm glad we made this table because I never saw Canon after surgery, so I need to follow him up. I'm surprised that Brooke is not following on these stuff. Because that's her job. That's why she was hired to do. So
Well, she's going through the inventory right now.
yeah, let her know. That means we didn't draw 1 month, like Signatera and everything for this patient. I never okay. So yeah, Michael Anderson, let's see if he received any therapy for it. So Court C is it's like patient who got treated for their staging, treated appropriately for their staging. If stage 3B got concurrent chemo red, it's cured. So, but if they didn't get the treatment, then the transplant becomes the treatment. So if we're treating cancer by transplant, then it becomes, it's not truly stage category C. So look into that. Thomas, do you know what stage? Did the patient get the transplant or not yet?
No, he's still waiting. He's he's very early on. He's not even on supplemental oxygen right now.
Okay. Zafran. Is stage 2A?
Yes, for his cancer.
What therapy did he get? So let's see if he got all the appropriate treatment.
Mhm.
And Gotso is and Dr. Barat wants to do another biopsy.
Yep.
I think he's gonna freak out because they want more treatment for him. What's his stage?
I'll have to check.
Stage 4.
So yeah, he's the stage 1 versus stage 4.
Yeah. I think we're trying to prove what his stage is by doing like another contralateral.
Yeah.
So maybe tell Brooke and my nurse,
Mhm.
Bridget is now my nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And you have her email and right?
Yes.
Yeah. So let them know I'm gonna have a follow-up visit with him, televisit, to talk about why we need another biopsy. All that. So I think he's freaking out. And he needs oxygen. So he might. Yeah. What happened to Mr. Wright?
He's the one that pulled out, wasn't he?
But he's still in ICU, right?
Oh, I don't know his like dispo right now.
So he never consented?
He consented, but he withdrew from the study.
Like, do you know why?
I don't know the specifics. I was just told that they withdrew from, I think it was Brooke.
So
Isn't that the person that was his situation got too bad for a transplant, so we visited him and
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So I don't know he withdrew. So I think if he consented, there's no withdrawing unless patient tells you I want to be off the list. But this is observation study anyway. It's not like you withdraw and you are well, I guess you can say don't follow me up. I don't want you to follow up with me. Then makes sense. But unless he says that, I can't imagine him saying that. So he became ineligible for transplant, not for DREAM, but for transplant. DREAM is just the following up the clinical outcome. But the transplant itself, he didn't withdraw. He badly wanted it, but his performance status was bad, so they took him off the list. So I don't know if Brooke said that, meaning he's off transplant list. We interpret that as an off DREAM list.
So that was one thing I did want to kind of discuss. So what you're saying is true in that he's off the transplant list, but he still can be on the DREAM study. But so when we're talking about DREAM enrollment, are we going to count people who are not getting transplant as well? Because we have like our current IRB is for like 125 patients total over 5 years.
Yeah.
So for patients who are not getting the transplant, should they still be counted towards that participant, like that number?
Yes.
Or should they be?
Yes.
Okay.
So we want to know what happens to patient who consented, like how many died waiting for lung, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have definitely patient who consented,
Yes.
like the first two patients. I vividly remember those two. Like what, how long did they wait, right? And then, what was. So I think it matters. It has its point. Like we need to do the workup sooner than later. All important. So, yeah, definitely. So so for like, for each category. So I want you to category A, B, C, and within each group, I want you to classify them as patient who expired, waiting. Well, I guess patient who never got the transplant. And then within that group, you can put the expired patient first, and then to be determined waiting patient next. And for the patient who received lung transplant, you can put patient who's deceased after transplant, and then who are still alive. So like two groups in each category.
Okay.
Okay, that way we know the full picture. And then we will present our interim results as such in that category. Category A, B, C. For the purpose of presentation, because we don't have any patients on non-lung cancer, we don't have to even mention cohort B, but we can just say stage 4 group versus local disease group, or history, I don't know, like active stage 4 lung cancer group versus not other group. For our convenience, we can call it whatever we want. And then present 2 group, And then it should include deceased as well as alive. But we can do, people who got transplanted for cohort A, and then do like separate subgroup analysis on only on that people, and do like progression-free survival, recurrence-free survival, overall survival, things like that later on. But right now there's so few patients, so we can do for the purpose of AACR, we can do just a swimmer's plot, survival after transplant patient 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can just put the month. But for the patient who expired, they're not part of category A, so we don't have to present that patient, at least for now.
Okay, so the swimmer plot will be primarily for cohort A who's received the double lung transplant.
Right.
Okay.
But still make it for cohort C. Let's see what it looks like and go from there. So we have Keith there.
Sure.
Okay. And then you should, okay, and then list the patients who are DREAM candidates but didn't come here to sign consent. I feel like these people who are candidate but didn't move to Chicago yet because they're out of state, I feel like they should consent over the phone and then still be on our list, and they might expire just waiting for some, but we could still sort of, because they consented on follow-up, we could kind of see if they're still alive. I feel like studying the whole process is also important. When do they contact us? Like from the first contact to the actual transplant, how long does it take? Unless we get them on our database, it's hard to keep track of where they are. So let's start with our first patient that I saw yesterday with Derek, who is out of state. And Liam, you can just give them a call and do you agree to be on our database to follow up your progress before and after transplant, and just have them do a verbal consent and send them a paper. Yeah, I feel like
I should be able to consent them like via email. I can send it to them and have them sign.
Yeah, you can do that.
One question I did have is, are we concerned about potentially reducing the N number for the people who actually get the surgery, the transplant?
So I'm not concerned of anything. I think we have to. So let's say if patient, so DREAM is if they're deemed eligible by our eligibility criteria, they are going to go on to so they might fail transplant evaluation process. Then we're gonna say during the screening process, these number of patients failed screening, because you still collect the data. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you consent to a clinical trial, what happens is you follow up, but then if you screen fail, then you are still filling out the screen fail form. You know what I mean? Then So all these things are really important. They consented, but they screen failed because of this issue. So it's all going to be part of our data that we publish, but it won't negatively affect, because that's the real world. You know, we try to understand what actually happened. So as long as there's no distant mets, there's no mediastinal lymphadenopathy, I'm gonna say this is a good candidate. Whether patient gets more treatment, whatever happens down the road, we'll still collect their data and their survival. Do you understand?
Yes.
So let's do that. Let's just not wait till they actually come to our center. But let's just get the consent done remotely. I think that's
Okay.
better. So
Then
group knows who they are, like they're, you know, also like who are potential candidates. Let's just call them and just say Dr. Che want you to be on this database so that we keep track of you, and we learn from your clinical trajectory. If you know, and you will be on active, like, you know, consideration for the bilateral transplant by being on the DREAM data registry. So it's a registry, and then we're not telling them what to do. So
yeah. Okay. So you're basically saying we don't need to have 125 surgery patients, right? Transplanted patients. The 125 can be split between people who received the transplant and people who did not.
right. So 125 could be patients who actually, so you can interpret it in all different ways. They signed consent, but they dropped out because they did not pass rigorous transplant evaluation. Then they won't be counted into 125 in the end, but we still collect their data, because what you end up
Okay.
doing is, you know, clinical trials open for 100 patient slots, then you screen fail some of them, right? Because they die of car accident or whatever happened. So the screen fail patient won't be included in the actual IRB approved numbers.
Mhm.
So it's still okay to collect their survival and what they, you know,
Understood.
until they actually drop out. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
The rest of it, I think have a noon meeting. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so let's just I'll just catch up with you, Liam, after the lunch meeting.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah. So maybe I don't know, you, it might take time for you to come and join me, right?
Yeah. If you can, I'll try and rush over there. Maybe like 15 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah. I'll try and see if I can get an Uber.
Yeah, it's where is it?
I think it's in your office, isn't it?
Yeah, let me see. Oh yeah. Maybe they're already here. So yeah, let's finish up after you come here. Okay.
Okay.
See you soon. See you guys.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you.
You.